Good evening, good morning, good whatever time it is you're listening to this. I hope you're having a good one. I'm going to be going over the SPY and the datasets for April 9th, 2025. And with that said, let's go straight into the data. They'll pop up. There we go. Alright, so we don't have a whole lot going on tomorrow. We just essentially we just have the 10-year no auction and then the FOMC meeting minutes. Now, the FOMC meeting minutes is going to be fairly important this time just because the FOMC last FOMC they did was really key because they changed a lot of policy even though they kept in with a rate pause. Uh, they're changing a lot of policy moving forward. So they cut QT down, uh, and that's quantitative tightening. They reduce that significantly. Um, they're really posturing for uncertainty, as Powell said. So we just need to kind of peek into those and see what each of the Fed members are kind of thinking about. Excuse me. Now going over data, this isn't exactly data, but this kind of pertains to data since it's, you know, in the same category, so we're just gonna go over it anyway. Now, what happened today was we had a trade representative, Representative Green. He made a statement to, I believe, a press member or somebody important. It was enough to essentially shake the market. Um, he said Trump has been clear that he won't do tariff exemptions in the near future. So he's trying to say that President Trump isn't going to be budging on any of these tariffs and that we shouldn't be anticipating anything happening in the near term future that's going to dramatically shift the stance of um, you know, President Trump's tariff policy. So that really shook the market. That took the SPY all the way down from the 524, 525 almost, down all the way to the five or the 496. So pretty dramatic move. We were actually having a really good market day until that happened. That happened fairly early in the morning, but if you just look at the hourly chart, and I'll go into the actual technicals in a little bit, but the market was heading upward. We were filling this cup upward essentially, and then we got that news where the trade representative said that about the tariffs, and the market just absolutely took it really poorly. Yeah, that was a really big shock to the market, but that's also showing us right now that the market is like 99.999% tariff based. So anything shifting with those tariff policies is going to be good news for the market. And this is kind of what I discussed in my video yesterday, which is um, we largely had the hammer dropped with these tariffs. The bad news is largely over. There's only how the other governments are going to be responding to us now, and just our strictness of the tariffs, and if, we have to implement further tariffs on countries, and one of the examples right now is Trump just posted not too long ago. I don't have the exact time, but he's going to be enacting an additional 50% tariff on China, which is huge, and I don't know if that's a full 50% blanket tariff on China, but wow, that's huge. I will know more about that tomorrow as I, dig into that. But yeah, that's just some information moving into how we're going to be continuing trading this. So, I just wanted to go over that since technically tomorrow there really isn't much data. We just have the Fed meeting minutes, and then we have that 10-year auction, which it's going to show the yields are going to be pulling downward. We had the 3-year auction today, and the yields pulled down uh, quite a bit. Just a quick reminder before we get into the technical analysis. If you've been finding value in my insights, consider joining my Patreon. For just $12.99 a month, you'll get access to my trades, courses, and powerful tools to help you grow as a trader. I'd love to have you be a part of our team and community. And it's less than 43 cents a day. So if you'd like to join, click in the link in the description. Thanks. Now getting into the technical analysis, and let's go to the daily chart as always. Let's go over our levels as they are always important to kind of get our head wrapped around. Now, the market closed at 496.48. A pretty red close. We were all the way up to I believe almost 525 at one point. 425.98, so yeah, 2 cents off. Um, yeah, that's pretty substantial drop over that tariff news. But since we closed at 496.48, the 5 mile is going to be opening around the 515 to 517. Currently, it's at 521.47. So, yeah, it's very likely going to be in that 515 range, but um, anywhere between the 515 to 517 is very likely where the 5 mile will be opening, which, again, that's pulling the 5 mile down towards the market price. Um, the 10 mile is still far away, so I'm really not going to be talking about these other moving averages right now. It's not really worth discussing just yet. Um, but we do have the lower Bollinger at 505.91. And seeing how we've been under this bottom Bollinger for 4 sessions now, and we were pulling out of it. Actually, really disappointed about that bad news today, kind of shifting the market. We were really pulling out of that bottom Bollinger because if you remember in the video I talked about yesterday, I said how we go from the bottom Bollinger, and generally on day 3 or day 4 of that bottom Bollinger move, you start seeing some of the retracement back to the 5 mile. Well, we were starting to get that, and bad news kind of entirely rejected that level. So um, we're kind of gonna have to redo this movement now. Whether we retest the 5 mile come tomorrow, I don't know. I just know that uh, there was a full intention to test that level and probably test the upper bounds of that level too and pull the market towards that price. But that bad news really spiked volatility and spiked the selling. So that kind of changed the course of what was going on. And let's go over the 4-hour chart. Now, generally, I would be showing the hourly chart, but it's just a little easier in this program to show the 4-hour chart, so you can kind of follow along on the hourly. Um, Actually, I want to show the daily chart really quick. So, again, a few months ago, we broke away from that major buying channel, and we've been in this really strong major selling channel. Now, we hit the bottom and we started slowly building support. And this bottom was a very large cup, which I had the drawing the other day, but started messing up on me, so I had to delete it. So we have the cup right here. Okay, and there's a really large inverse cup. We know that that's an inverse cup because it's clinging to that support. Okay, so it's trying to build support right here. Um, we're still within this channel, and how you know we're within this channel, there's support right there, support right there. It's descending, so we're still within that area. What created the selling structure? It's up here, so that's how you get the upper bound. That's how you get the bottom bounds. We're still within this tight selling structure. Now, with us being in this area and with us being in this selling structure, let me adjust this line just a little bit because it just needs to move right there. Okay, now it's perfect. All right, so it kind of depends on what happens tomorrow, but we have a few different scenarios that can be happening here. And I actually want to show this on the hourly chart because it looks a little better. And sorry for that line, but you just have to bear with that, unfortunately. So this was the cup I was originally talking about. Um, we have this cup right here, and what I was expecting was it for to close all the way up towards this area. All right. Um, that didn't happen. We had that bad news and we had that rejection right there, but that rejection right there makes a lot of sense for multiple reasons. Um, we had this micro cup right here, and this would be the area for the bears to reject that micro cup. So that's what they did. They rejected it downward. However, um, depending on if this is still going to be bearish tomorrow or not, if this builds support right here, then take a look. That's a cup and a handle. We can very likely have this create a full cup right here, pull up into that area, reject slightly, and, build upward. Okay. And no, you guys can't comment on that. I know someone will, so I just had to point it out. Um, that's what I really assume is going to happen because that's kind of where the market was headed today, and that bad news sort of picked up the selling again. And it kind of depends if we keep heading down or not, because if we continue to head down, then this really nice cup kind of nullifies and then it turns into a really nice inverse cup. Okay, and then from the bottom of that inverse cup, we can expect a handle, and that handle might pull all the way upward to that 507. It might pull to the 488. We have to see. That's something that has to further build out. I don't think this will complete, but you just have to be aware. So what we're really looking for here is the bulls are really looking for structure pulling upward. Okay, so we're looking for this to turn into an inverse head and shoulders right here. Okay, and then essentially pull upward. I'm going to delete this line. Pull upward and, finish this cup out. Okay, and then we can, essentially from there build a handle and, head upward or, wherever we're going to go at that point. But that's kind of the bullish thesis is we're expecting a right shoulder to start forming and a breakout. Okay. Um, what the bears want is for, bearish structure to continue. Whether that's going to just gap down on the open towards that and fill out the inverse cup, or whether they have to build upward and create a full other inverse cup to kind of form a larger inverse cup to pull down, if that makes sense. So I would be looking for some sort of structure in here to suggest, okay, we're going to be breaking from the buying and not complete this cup and not complete this larger cup and handle, and we are going to head downward. It's going to be right in this area, you know. Um, yeah, I mean that's really the key to determining if we're going to break out or break down further. Um, this can also turn into a really nice double bottom, which that becomes a bullish structure as well. Which that would look like kind of like a W, and then that would go upward like that, and essentially this turns into a cup. We start building a handle and head up from there. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I feel like I covered everything, but I'm half asleep right now. I'm so exhausted. Uh, Essentially, just trade carefully. Okay. There's no reason to be overloading, trying to buy the dip or anything. Just continue, like I said, in the other video. If we get a leg downward, then we just need to simply, average or dollar cost average, our leap positions and just wait for this chop to finish, wait for the selling to finish, wait for more structure to fill out. That's going to suggest, okay, we're done selling, we're going to continue heading up. If this structure breaks out and heads upward, this is a really good structure to suggest we are going to head up. If this continues breaking down, then this is a good structure to suggest we're going to continue heading down. Um, Essentially, you just need to continue to show patience and allow this to form a structure in here. Don't just buy calls right here, assuming this is going to fill out some cup. The IV on contracts right now is just obscene, so it's not worth it. Um, yeah, I would be trying to play straddles if anything. I wouldn't do strangles so much, but straddles can pay off really well because essentially the movements are so big that it will fully pay off one side and you can have an extremely good position with very, 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 very little risk. So, okay, I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope everyone has a good night, have a good day, trade safe, and I will talk to you in the next one.